Right now I want to show you how to put together the RAM-SM1, which is the RAM seatmate system. As you can see here, I've got all the poles at the top here, and then I've got all the parts that connect the poles together at the front here, and they're in order that they've listed in the manual. So first things first, we want to connect the support arms off the side of this plate here. So I'm just going to move these two hooked poles out of the way because I'll use them later. And what I want to do is get one of these poles and just mount it so it ends up connecting to these holes here and allows you to swivel it along that point there. So first thing we need to do is get one of these nut holders inside of the tube here. Now the way it works is you put two nuts into here, which are these nuts here. One goes in there and the other one goes in there like so. Now that holds the nuts in place so we can put the screw through these holes. So I have to thread them in upside down so that the holes here are now at the top, so the bolt can come in through here and the nut is held in place by these nut holders. So that's step one. Now what we need to do is actually line it up to these holes and drop these bolts through. Now the one that goes in here is a flat head, and then there's the pan head that goes in the outside with the washer. So you grab one of these flat heads and drop it through here, and then what I've got to do is line it up to the hole at the bottom here. So push that through there, line it up through the hole, get my screwdriver and just tighten it down into there. So that's the first one. So it doesn't have to be super tight, it just has to be held in place. There's the one. Now you can see through here I've actually got a pivot point there with the flat head, and I'm going to put the pan head so it slides through here. So now we take the pan head with the washer, slide that on there, and then I just drop it into there and I tighten it up. So that's how you install these side arms. I have to do it on the other side as well. So there we go, we tighten that up. I could probably make it a little bit tighter, it's just a bit loose, but you can see how it works. So when it's open, and then when it's closed like that, that's how it lines up. So on the end of this pole, I can now put this vinyl cap. That one goes on this end there. And I can now do exactly the same I've done here right on the other side. So let's get that organized right now. So there you go. I've now put these arms on both sides, you can see there, and I've tightened up these bolts both sides just so there's enough gripping force where it slides and can be held into place, but it's not so tight that it can't move freely when I move it myself. Next step we need to do is put the pole in through this lever hole here. So first thing we need to do is take the lever itself and the cap, put that over the top, and then put the spring with the cap, or the lever in together into this hole. So you put that in there like so, and you push them both in together. So now we've got those in there. It can be quite tricky to get this pole in, which is this pole here. So what we need to do, or I like to do, is put the cap on the end there. Now we need to thread this pole in here, but we need to give it a bit of a push at the same time as keeping that spring and the lever in there. So I've got that through there now. So now we need to just flip it over. And now I've got to thread it through the bottom there like so. So now I've gone through the spring and the lever here. So this lever now loosens that off, and then when let go, the spring holds it tightly in place. So the final thing I need to do is now put the handle on the end here. So I drag these parts out of the way, but these are the four parts you need. First thing we need to assemble it together. You can see there's a hex hole. We just drop the nut in there. We get the bolt, put that through the head end, put these together like so. So we're actually making a wedge with these two pieces, and then we just need to tighten this up like so, just enough so that it's gripping the nut on the end. Then we need to feed this into this pole here, which can be a little bit tricky, but it's just a matter of getting it in there and wedging it in so that you can push this handle in and use it as part of this pole connector. So we wedge that in there, so I'll get my screwdriver to push this wedge in. There we go. That's in. Get the wedge right down, tighten it up, which will lock the wedge in there. Simply tighten that screw up there on the end. And there we go. My seatmate is now complete. The other hardware I had in the picture before are the 4 nuts and bolts. And what they're designed for is if you want to install a RAM ball on top of this seatmate, which is generally what you need this for. You put a ball, you can then take an arm onto that ball and then put a laptop tray or whatever it is you want to mount. So this hardware here that's included with the seatmate is used to connect a round plate. But the round plate itself isn't included, but the hardware to mount all that is. So there you go, that's the seatmate all put together, ready to go and use in your vehicle.